Everyone, welcome. This is Mompreneurs to Millionaires. So glad you are here. Today we are talking about money blocks. Ooh, this is always such a hot topic for me. I always feel like it is so personal and so vulnerable, but I'm so glad you're here. If you are wanting to think about starting to unblock your money blocks, right? I feel like so many, especially women, right? So many entrepreneurs, I think we get into this space where we want to up level, right? We want to make more income. We want to get more clients, reach a higher level of client. All of those things push the edge of your comfort zone, right? And with that comes, I believe, money blocks from ancestral patterns, from family messages that we received. All of those things come from the stories that we tell ourselves, right? So of course, we're gonna talk all about it today. And a big giant disclaimer, right? Of course, we are talking here about money blocks for educational and inspirational purposes, right? If you at all need specific financial advice, this is not that, right? Absolutely go seek a financial professional, someone who is certified in making decisions, helping you make decisions for your specific financial future and all of those things, right? This is inspiration to help you think about what stories you are telling yourself, to help you think about your next level, right? So inspirational purposes for sure. Awesome. Let me know if you're watching on the live, just type live below, or let me know if you're watching on the replay. Just say replay below. I'd love to know who's coming in the day of and who's coming in afterwards. Awesome. Thanks so much for being here. All right, so today we are going to talk, I'm going to share kind of my three, what I think are the biggest main money blocks that I think most women, I know myself, I have dealt with trying to overcome them, and I think most of my clients deal with these same three money blocks. Then I'm going to share 4 ways that I think help overcome each and every money block. So definitely stick around. You're not going to want to miss this. What I think is so important about money blocks, right? Let's talk seriously for a second. I think money blocks obviously are directly related to sales. So often, I think, especially women, we are told not to talk about money, right? It's not polite. Be polite above all else. And selling feels yucky to a lot of, is a bad word, right? Selling is a bad word. Nobody wants to be salesy. Nobody wants to be sold to, right? So that is the challenge I think so many entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs face, is that we think it's bad to be salesy, right? And of course, nobody wants to feel like they're being sold to, right? I really want to help change that mindset from selling to serving, right? You have a unique perspective from your business. You have that deep inside of you longing to help people. And your ideal client needs to hear from you, right? And that is a service. You are serving, you can find an aligned place that feels good to you, right? I think there's a saleswoman in each and every woman, especially if she has a business. I think there's a place where you can feel good about using the right words, leading your customer to a decision, through a journey of transformation, right? You are offering a transformation and there's value in that. So serving your clients in a way that feels good to you, I think there's a place for each and every woman to do that. So of course, that's something I love working with my clients on. If you feel like you need a little bit of help with your sales strategy, your lead strategy, of course, those are things that I offer with my clients. Just the other day, I had a client who was feeling like, oh, this is the slow time in my business, right? There's a seasonality to things. Plus the economy is bad, right? All of those things. I love helping my customers to think about things in a different way, right? There are thinking about sales in a different way. There are people making money each and every single day of the year, right? 365 days of the year, 24/7. People have been saying the economy is bad for the last 20 years, right? It could be an excuse for the next 20 years. There are people making money each and every single day. So there's a place for you to feel aligned and good about selling. And I definitely, absolutely believe that each and every each and every business has a place in this world, right? And your ideal client needs to hear from you. Your message is important. So keep that in mind. And if at all you could use a little help with strategy or sales or mindset, those are all things I love talking with my clients about. Just say strategy below. I'd love to reach out to you and chat more about where you're at with your business and your goals and how to get you there. So that's what I love talking about. All right, real quick, thanks so much to everyone who voted. Every week I put out a poll on what we should talk about. If you feel like there is a topic, a burning question that you think would really help move your business forward, let's talk about it. Feel free to drop some ideas below if you have one, or you can always suggest one on that poll each and every week inside my group, or you can just vote on the suggested topics that I post there. So thanks so much to everyone who voted. Obviously this week, the winning topic was money blocks. So I'm so excited to get into it. Obviously this is something that, right, I think is ever present. I think every time you reach a new level, right, every time you want to up level, I think that's when your fear comes in, and that's when these money blocks are so present. And I think it's something that you have to be aware of and address each and every time you kind of want to up level your income, up level something new that you're trying, sell something different, right? I think that is something that we all have to face for sure. So having the tools to do that, right? Having the right tools to not only be aware, but also to change the story that you're telling yourself, right? So we're going to get into that. So I know you're a go-getter, right? You are a go-getter. You are here. You are wanting to grab some little nugget that will change your business, change your mindset, and help move your business forward. So with that, I invite you to put on your abundance crown, right? I call it a crown because every single one of you is a goddess within. I do believe that. I really believe that you have the power to change, right? You have the power to get exactly what you want, right? To me, abundance means that all things are possible, but it's up to you, right? You're the one no one's coming to save your business. No coach that you hire is going to magically change your business forward for you, right? You are the one with the power. You have the power. You can change your mindset. You have the ability to grow. You have the ability to change. You can change your reality. It is up to you. So I invite you to, as you're watching, just write down 2 action items that you hear from today, whether it's a new aha moment, whether it's an action that you're going to try, whether it's just something that was said in a little bit different way that you hadn't thought of before, right? I would love to hear your 2 action items. You can feel free to drop them below, or you can always send them to me privately. I'd love to hear what people get out of this, because the point is you're spending, a few minutes with me here. I want you to get something out of it. I always say that the DIY method, right? Trying to do everything yourself is the slowest way to fail or success, right? But it is the slowest way to get there. I don't want you to waste years like I did, right? Hire a coach, hire someone who has gone through the journey that you yourself want to go through. That will get you there so much faster, right? I don't want you to waste years like I did. I made all those mistakes so that you don't have to. So that is always my message. DIY, doing it yourself, you're not meant to do this alone, right? You are not meant to do this alone. We are meant to learn from each other, especially women. I think women especially want to be in community with each other. We want to learn from each other and grow together. That is my mission in life, is that we can all share access to knowledge and resources. I'm moving up and I'm bringing you with me, right? We rise together. That is my big motto in life. I really believe that we can all learn from each other, and we're here to grow. So I'm glad you're here. All right, so with that, just keep in mind, we talked a little bit about fear, right? I always like to address a few little tidbits at the beginning too about fear. Fear definitely keeps creeping up whenever you feel like you are stepping out of your comfort zone. I hear this in a lot of different ways. 2 ways that I keep hearing lately are I don't have time and Facebook is bad, right? So again, think about what you're telling yourself and if they are fear-based, right? If you don't have time, are you afraid that you're going to drop the ball in something else? You're so busy, you're juggling keeping everything afloat, right? If you're so afraid of trying something new, you're worried you're gonna drop the ball in another area. What I would really encourage you to do, if you feel you are too busy to learn a new strategy, but you are not too busy to get new clients, right? You want more clients, but you feel like you're too busy to learn a new strategy. There's a little bit of a disconnect there, right? I wanna fill that gap in your knowledge to understand that If you want more clients, you might have to try a new strategy. And with that, there may be some shuffling of all the balls you're holding in the air, right? There may need to be some refocus on what is actually bringing you clients. What are some income generating activities, right? What are some actual things that you are doing? What is actually moving your business forward? Because I guarantee if you are posting and hoping and spending all your time on content, that is not moving your business forward, right? That is something you are keeping yourself busy with, and that is not effective. So definitely be thinking about if you are posting and hoping, and if you are too busy to learn a new strategy, that might be the saving grace that can move your business forward, right? So definitely if you need at all help with a new strategy, feel free to just say strategy below. And Facebook is not bad, right? I hear this so much. I get it, that there are there's a lot of drama everywhere. There's a lot of toxic content on Facebook. You get to decide. You get to decide what you focus on, right? What you focus on, you get more of. You get to decide how to fix your feed. You can X out of ads. You can get out of groups that are spammy or drama. You can unfollow your friends. You can unfollow content, right? You fix your feed. If you find Facebook is not what you want, make it. Make your own space, right? If you're not in the spaces that you want to be, create them, right? If you're not in the groups you want to be, create them. If you're not seeing what you want to see, you get to decide how you curtail your feed to fit your needs and to fit your peace. You protect your peace, right? So you get to decide what enters into your comfort zone, what enters into your world, what you surround yourself with every single day. So think about, if you're calling Facebook toxic, think about what you're surrounding yourself with, because there are some beautiful supportive places on Facebook, right? I truly believe that Facebook is a great connector, right? Love it or hate it. Sure, there are some bad things about it, but you get to decide. There are so many more beautiful things, I think, than not on Facebook. It is connecting us in ways that we never were able to do before. So find your peace, fix your feed, fix your feed. All right, so if you're new here, right, my name is Christina. I have been an entrepreneur forever, right? I feel like way back when I was a babysitter, 12 years old, tell me where my babysitter's at. I really thought that was my first little job, right? I made little business cards. I really turned it into making my own money. And I think that really drove that entrepreneurial spirit deep within me, right? Ever since then, I think I've always been trying to figure out, okay, how can I make my own money, not dependent on someone else, not dependent on a paycheck? So with that, I started my first little Etsy shop back in 2010. And I quickly realized, tell me if you heard this or if you felt this as well, it is so hard to be seen online, right? I quickly realized the internet is huge. Oh my gosh, right? Especially even on Etsy. I thought Etsy wasn't that huge, but it was so hard to be seen. So I really quickly learned, if you build it, they do not just come, right? You can't just set up the perfect shop, create the perfect social media profile, have the best cover photo, and have the best content, and people will show up. It doesn't work like that, right? You have to go to them. So that is something I always encourage my clients, is you have far more power than posting and hoping, right? So fast forward to 2014, my husband and I opened a little bike shop, coffee shop. And this is where I always say I learned marketing by fire, right? Because we had to. We needed people in our door like yesterday. So we really had to figure out and get creative. How do I get people coming in my door? We thought we had the perfect location, colors, products, services, bikes, coffee, everything, right? We thought we had all the perfect everything and that people would just show up. They didn't. They didn't just show up. So we had to go to them. We had to find creative ways of marketing. We had to figure out where my audience is and where they hang out and how to get them in my door. So that is, right, that is the gist of marketing, I think. And luckily enough, we found Facebook groups, right? So Facebook groups, we created a Facebook group for that bike shop. And such a testament to Facebook groups is that there are still people getting together in that Facebook group we created for the bike shop, going on bike rides together. To this day, here we are 10 years later. We closed the bike shop in 2016. 10 years later, there are still people getting together, right? That is such a testament that people want to be seen, heard, and belong, right? So building a community around your business, I think, is such an important step to gaining supportive followers, loyal supporters that want to encourage you, that want to be part of your journey, right? And eventually buy from you, right? And hopefully you can pull the right levers. I wish I had known what I know now about Facebook groups, is that there are so many important levers that you get to pull to decide how to start conversations with people. Again, I think content is not converting, relationships are. And the Facebook group model is the easiest way to start conversations because you get to pull those levers and figure out where they are with their problem, where they are on their journey, how interested are they, where do they need you, when do they need you, and they get to answer questions, right, upon entry. And that starts conversations. So if you're at all interested in talking more about Facebook groups, of course, I love helping my clients build predictable lead flow every single day to your business. It's the easiest sales funnel out there. I would love to talk to you more about that. Again, feel free to say strategy below. I'd love to chat with you, hop on a call, see where you're at, see how your Facebook group is looking, or if you're thinking about starting a Facebook group. Both ways are an easy way to start. We can look at what you've created or talk about how to create one that would look good for your business and work. All right, so with the bike shop, right, it was such a heartache, right, when we had to close. That is definitely a huge part of my money story, right? That I time and time again have had to address how we felt about that bike shop, because once that bike shop closed, of course, it felt like a failure. But I never believe failure is a true failure, right? We always learn something from every time we fail and pick ourselves back up again, right? It is a testament to resilience. It is a testament to what you are meant to learn in this world, right? And so I really believe that that bike shop obviously happened for a reason. I'm so glad that it happened, but I'm so glad that it failed, right? Because then I wouldn't be here with you. And this work makes me so much happier helping women business owners. I really turned it into my passion to help you succeed, because I felt like an island by myself, right? I really did at the bike shop. And I thought there must be so many other women who also feel like they're alone in this journey. And you're not alone, and you're not meant to do this alone, right? So we rise together. That's really my big motto. But at the bike shop, right, once that closed, of course it was such a heartache, but I really had to figure out how to feel about that money story, right? Of course it was a failure. Of course we invested a lot, and of course we lost a lot of money. And here's what I keep coming back to is this, maybe you've heard of this. I'd love to hear if you've heard of this. BTFAR, beliefs, thoughts, feelings, action, results. Right? BTFAR, your beliefs subconsciously are driving your thoughts, right? So if your beliefs about yourself, it starts with your beliefs, right? And this is really where your money blocks, I think, start, because that leads you to your thoughts. If you believe something about yourself, if you believe you're bad at money, if you believe this was a failure, you're going to continue to have thoughts about that trauma, about that failure, and that is going to lead to your feelings about that. And of course, feelings are going to cause you to take action, and that will give you the results, right? So BTFAR, it starts with your beliefs. And this is why we're talking about money blocks. It is such a root cause of, I think, so many ill-informed actions, so many ways that we limit ourselves, that those aligned actions never come and those results never come, because it starts with our beliefs. That's what I believe. I'd love to hear. Have you heard of BTFAR, and do you believe that? Do you believe that your beliefs are subconsciously causing your thoughts and feelings and action and results? I'd love to hear. Okay, so now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. I'm going to share with you the 3 main money blocks that I keep seeing time and time again with my clients, as well as in my own life. They come up in different ways. And what's great is that once you are aware of them, you can start to notice them and how they come up in different ways, how they come up in different thought patterns, stories that you're telling yourself, actions that you take. It's really, I think, fun and a challenge to start to recognize, oh, this is where I'm at, right? This is my fear. This is my, belief because of this. So the first main money block that I think so many of us hear, I heard this growing up, is that it is bad to be rich. Tell me if you heard this. It's bad to be rich. It's greedy to be rich. Greedy is bad. I heard this. Yuppies are bad. Yuppies are bad. Tell me if you heard that, right? Growing up. And it's in movies, right? It's in movies. It's in society. I'm really excited to see the new Devil Wears Prada. Has anyone seen the new one? But I think that is such a, an example of the rich woman, tell me one movie, right, where there's a well-adjusted rich woman who's making good decisions and is really nice to people and caring, right? No, every single movie, the protagonist, the heroine, whoever it is, she has to learn something in order to get rich. Or if she's rich, she has to learn a really hard lesson in order to keep her wealth, or maybe she loses her wealth because she is a bad person. And then she's much happier when she doesn't have money and magically everything turns out, right? Tell me one movie. I would love to hear one movie where there is a well-adjusted, reasonable woman who is nice and kind and just living a great life with all her money, right? Tell me. It is everywhere. It is really hard. I think we are given those messages that having money is bad, right? It's bad to want money. It is bad to be greedy. It is bad to, only bad people make money, right? Tell me if you believe that. And here's what I would argue, right? Is that true, right? I think it's a story that we tell ourselves. It's a story that we see in movies time and time again. It is a belief in our society, right? How many times have you had to qualify a new dress or a new outfit by saying how much discount you got, right? If you got a new dress and someone, I see this all the time with women, right? Oh my gosh, I love your shirt. Oh my God, I got it on sale. Right? It is ever present. It is ever present. It is way cooler to talk about the discount that you got on something as opposed to talk about, no, I paid full price and it's amazing. Right? It's not okay to talk about. So this is the challenge, right? I really think these are the beliefs that we are telling ourselves. These are the beliefs that we have in society. It's bad to talk about money. It's bad to want money. I would really argue with you to try to think about, if you notice those patterns, those thought patterns and those stories that you're telling yourself, to try to switch that and say, is it true? Is it true to have, that it's bad to have money? Do you have any examples in your life of people with money that are doing amazing things? Yes, more than likely there are people in your life who have money, are comfortable, and are good people, right? I always say money in the hands of good people can do way more good in the world. Resources, right? We all live on resources. There's plenty of money in the world, and you can absolutely have money and be good and do good things for the world, right? That is what we all want to do. We want to serve the world, make money, and feel comfortable in doing so. Because if you feel comfortable, you can give more comfort to other people. I really believe that. All right, so is it true? Ask yourself, is it true? Number 2, this is the big one, right? One of the other big ones. There's never enough, right? Did you hear this growing up? Money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work hard for every dime you make, right? Tell me, did you hear this? Did you hear this growing up? There's never enough. And this is true lack mentality, right? You've probably heard lack mentality. This comes up in so many ways, right? Immediately we say, oh, I can't afford that. Immediately we say, right, even at the grocery store, I feel like name brand, not name brand. Well, I can't afford name brand, so I'm going to get this other one. Organic, not organic. Oh, I can't afford that, so I'm going to go, right? Can you really afford that? You probably could, right? But we tell ourselves there's never going to be enough. So I better save every penny I can because there's never going to be enough. There's always going to be a shortage. And it's a belief, right? I really believe that if you are thinking there's never going to be enough, there's never going to be enough, right? What if there is? What if excess is the goal? What if excess is possible, right? There are plenty of people living in excess. What if it's the goal, right? I think lack mentality comes through in so many different ways. In money books, I start to read lots of money books, and then I'm like, nope, this is encouraging lack mentality by saying debt is bad. Great. Granted, I'm not encouraging you to spend all your money and go into debt. But what if excess is okay, right? What if it's okay to borrow and pay it later, right? It's just a time thing, right? And what if it's okay? What if excess pays off all that debt, right? And it will. What if? What if it's possible? What if it's possible to live in excess? What if there is no, I've never seen money run dry, right? Has anyone else ever seen money run dry in the world, right? Probably in our own life, we have seen obviously examples, and that's what we keep repeating because we see the examples. Oh, yep, it's finite, it's fixed. I have a fixed income, right? And I think this is such the lack mentality. So again, flipping the switch of noticing when lack mentality is creeping up, there's never enough. Noticing, I think, is the first step. but then being able to change that story, right? And say, what if it is? What if it does grow on trees, right? What if, maybe not grow on trees, but what if there's plenty in the world? There's plenty of money in the world. There are people making money on repeat, right? And there's no reason that it can't be you. You are a good person. Money in the hands of good people can do more good in the world. There's plenty. All right. So then the third one, right? And speaking back to the economy, right? Again, that lack mentality is really with the economy. Oh, the economy's bad, right? The economy's bad, so I can't, right? I caught myself in the grocery store just the other day deciding what price of cheese I wanted to pay, right? There's cheese on sale, cheese not on sale. And I was talking with a guy like, oh, yep, in this day and age, we gotta be cheap. He was like, oh, I'm cheap. And I was like, yeah, we gotta be cheap. I'm like, oh my God, there I go again, right? Like, you don't have to be cheap just because of the economy's bad. If you can afford cheese, whichever price of cheese you want to pay, right? If we're saving a couple of cents, are you going to notice 30 cents in your pocketbook, right? I don't think you're going to notice 30 cents. You can probably afford the more expensive cheese. You get to decide, of course, right? You get to decide what you want to spend money on, but it's the energy around lack mentality. It's that energy of, I can't afford that. I can't because there's not enough. I can't because the economy's bad. I can't make money right now because the economy is bad. So then what? All businesses just have to wait till the economy that has zero control. We have zero control over the economy. We just have to wait. Businesses can't make money. I can't make money because the economy is bad? No, that's not true. That is not true. You have more power than that. You have far more power than that. So really think about what stories you're telling yourself. Are you putting your business on hold because you think the economy is bad? Sure, maybe the economy is not doing great, but it doesn't mean you still can't make money, right? It doesn't mean there's not enough. There are plenty of people making money. You can make money 24/7 for sure. All right, the third and final one is, I think women get put in this category so much, is that spending is bad, right? Tell me, do you feel like spending is bad or I'm bad at money? I think so many women, I heard this the other day, that articles written for men about money include images of power, wealth, higher dollars, lots of money, gold, right? Black and gold. Those are the articles written for men about money. Articles written for women about money in magazines, that kind of thing, are soft pinks with a piggy bank. They're talking about little change purses, groceries. They are savings. They're all about saving on groceries, saving on, discounts for shopping. They're all about shopping and saving. Whereas men are talking about wealth and expanding wealth. Women are talking about saving and pinching pennies, right? Is that not frustrating? It is not your fault. It is not your fault. It is in society. It is ever present, right? But it is noticing those patterns and those stories that we are telling ourselves. Are we meant to just pinch pennies and that's how you're going to make your wealth? No, that is not how you're going to make generational wealth, is by saving a couple of cents on your bananas, right? That's not going to, right? Saving a couple of lattes, not enjoying life, that is not going to get you generational wealth, right? I'm really sorry, but saving your lattes, I don't think is going to, right? There's plenty of other steps. Sure, that might be part of it. And if that fits your goals, absolutely. But I don't think sacrificing and living in that lack mentality that I can't have a latte because I want to make $1 million, right? That doesn't fit. So really think about that energy. Also, I always like to push back on, if you think you are bad at money, right? You are probably a woman of a certain age. If you're watching this video, you have made it this far in life, right? Here we are in middle of midlife. You are good at money, right? You have prioritized things somewhere along the lines, right? You have a roof over your head. You are probably driving a car. You are buying groceries. Is it perfect? Is it exactly what you want? Are you living in excess? Maybe not, right? But you have been able to prioritize the really important things in life, right? You have been able to live a certain life, and that is a win, right? You are good at money in a lot of ways. You've been able to prioritize keeping a roof and buying groceries and plenty of other things, whatever that looks like. There are ways that you have been abundant in your life. So really pushing back on that story of, oh, I'm just bad at money. You can change, right? And probably there's plenty of evidence that you are not bad at money, right? Sure, you might have came on some hard times, but absolutely there have been times that you have been good with money. You have prioritized what's important and you have figured it out. You have juggled it all, right? Most women do. Most women juggle all the kids' expenses, all the school, asking for this, all the little league, all the sports, all the things, right? We've juggled it all and we make it work. So you are not bad at money. You have been able to juggle a lot. So really think about these stories and push back on the stories that you tell yourself, right? Is there evidence that you have been good at money? For sure there is. Is it always perfect? No. Is there evidence that, that spending is bad? Is there evidence that spending is good? Right? I would argue yes. So definitely think about how those thoughts are coming up for you. I'd love to hear which of the three resonated most with you. That it's bad to be rich, that there's never enough, or that you're bad at money, right? Which of these resonates most with you? I would love to hear. You can also message me privately, of course, if you want. All right, so those are the three main money blocks. Now we're going to talk about the 4 ways that I think are the easiest ways to overcome these blocks, right? And we already kind of talked about pushing back on the stories that you're telling yourself, right? Questioning your story. So that's really number 1, I think, is to be aware, right? That's really the first step is just noticing your money blocks, and that's why naming it, right? Naming these kind of 3 main money blocks, I think, is the first step to recognizing the same patterns, right? Recognizing what patterns are painful to you, what money patterns keep coming up for you, and if you could dig a little deeper as to what that thought pattern and what that belief and story is, right? Of course, more than likely it's coming from, right, our family messages. It could be ancestral trauma. It could be past business trauma, right? If you've ever had a failed launch or a failed business, of course, these money stories are going to come back into your world, right? I'm always pushing back on the story that bike shop was a failure, right? Oh my God, we wasted so much money. We're going to waste it again. We're going to fail again, right? It's not true. It's just simply not true, right? We learned so much and I'm so glad that it happened. So it's just simply not true. So pushing back on the story, I think, is number 1. But now I'm going to share with you my 4 favorite ways. So the first way, I think, is books. I would love to hear if you have read a money book that changed your life, right? I feel like I have read so many. I've read so many a couple of times because I think they are so important. Just having a perspective from an outside source who has succeeded, written a book, put it all together in a nice little step-by-step framework is so helpful. I think books are an amazing resource that give you a different perspective. It changes your mind, right? It can really just open your world in a way that nothing else can, I think, right? It's getting access to this other knowledge, right? You would never be able to sit down with these gurus, right, and pick their brain, but getting a book, that's amazing. They've put their heart and soul into that book and shared usually some really valuable tips in there. So I think books is number 1. And if you're interested, right, we just started our May book club. So we've been doing this book club now for over a year and a half. And I'm so excited. All the books have been really, I think, life-changing. But I love talking money books. This month, we are diving into The Mindful Millionaire. So if any of you are interested in joining book club, just say book club below. We would love to have you. It's very low-key. We just chat over in Messenger throughout the month about the book. And then we meet by Zoom at the end of the month to discuss it. And this month I'm changing things up a little bit, and we're going to make it a game day for book club, and there will be prizes. So definitely say book club if you're interested in joining us over there. So books is number 1 for sure, is the easiest way, I think, to kind of help you change these money stories that you tell yourself and give you guidance on what to do next, right? Once you change the story, then what, right? It's a journey. It's not just, oh, I handled that money block, now I'll never deal with it again, right? Again, like I said, every time you up level, every time you hit another edge of your comfort zone, I think you're going to deal with money blocks. I think you're going to deal with these fear-based stories that we've told ourselves for forever, right? It's going to be, they're ingrained in us. So anytime you're stepping out of your comfort zone, it's your go-to, it's your default, right? So we want to recognize the default and be able to start to chip away at a new default. That is the goal. All right, the second thing that I think is the biggest help in fixing, unblocking, right? I don't think they're ever permanently fixed, but tackling your money blocks, I think, is meditation. Tell me below if you're a meditator, right? Here is what I have learned. I think meditation looks different for everybody, right? I would love to hear if you feel like you meditate, if you have tried it. I hear this a lot. Oh, I'm not a meditator. I can't meditate. I would argue, right? Again, with that growth mindset, to me, that's a little bit of a lack mindset. There's a way. There's a way for you to find meditation that looks good for you, right? Or that feels good to you. Meditation could be just sitting quietly with zero noise, right? Just sitting quietly with yourself. It could look like putting music on and just, relaxing or doing kind of mindless work. It could be journaling, right? That's another form of meditation. Whatever meditation looks for you. I really like guided meditations because I think my thoughts obviously travel. My thoughts, go all over the place. And so guided meditation helps me bring it back to, okay, here's my focus, here's my focus, here's my focus. It's really hard, right? And it's a practice. It doesn't have to be perfect, and I don't think there's any wrong way to meditate, right? One of the biggest helpful things that I have figured out is Insight Timer. If you are an Insight Timer fan, I'd love to hear it. But it's an easy way, free. It's a free app. And you can either just set music and set a timer, or there are a bunch of guided meditations. So it's really fun to kind of figure out what works for you, right? There are shower meditations, which I really love. You can close your eyes, you can lay down, you can sit, you can do whatever. But here's what I think is important about meditation, whatever that looks like for you, is if you can cut out the noise. That's the point, right? We are bombarded with so many senses, right? Everything we see, hear, touch, feel. If you can close your eyes and get quiet within yourself and go within, that is where the magic happens, and that is where problems are solved. That is how you can come to solutions, by quieting yourself and the world around you. I think that is the easiest way to solve problems. So meditation to me is the easiest way to really get clear on your intentions and be able to problem solve. Number 3 is, of course, affirmations, right? And now affirmations can feel, They can feel not true, right? They can fall flat if you don't feel them, if they don't feel true to you. So the point of affirmations, you can't just tell yourself, I'm wealthy. I'm a wealthy person. I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. And then you'll become a millionaire, right? You can't just tell yourself that. You have to feel it. You have to feel it before you can believe it. Right? And that is where affirmations can really help get you there. By finding an affirmation that feels good, saying it over and over to yourself can really help you move the needle, right? Move the path a little bit, rather than staying stuck in an old mindset or an old story that you're telling yourself. So affirmations are number 3. And the 4th one is journaling, right? I mentioned this a little bit. Journaling can be a form of meditation. I definitely think writing out your thoughts, right? It is personal to you. Everybody journals in a little bit different way. If you prefer prompts, that you can answer questions, or if you just prefer to free write, if you write in poems, if you write in stories, whatever that looks like, lists, right? Some days I just write in lists, right? And to me, that's easier. Like 4 things that you're grateful for, right? I often do that in my journaling. I think that really helps change your mindset, because then, of course, looking back, this is something I'm not good at, is looking back at your journal, right? And seeing how far you've come and learning the lessons over and over again, right? That you keep learning, and having a record of that. I think it's really valuable. So that's how we learn, right? Is writing it, hearing it, saying it, all of those things. I think are the things that's going to move the needle the most. All right, so that is it for Money Blocks today. I would love to hear what resonated with you. Did anything jump out? Do you have 2 action items or 2 aha moments? I would love to hear. I always feel like this is a little bit vulnerable, right, for me, because these are 3 money blocks that I certainly have dealt with, and 4 things that I definitely do every single day to overcome any fear-based money blocks, fear-based lack mentality that comes up every time I want to hit a new level with my business, right? These are things that I think it's a daily practice because we all have different thoughts, different situations. Life happens, a new bill comes in, a new expense happens, right? And then we have to think about, how do I feel about that? Right? Before we can catch our thought, right? I think those old thought patterns and stories obviously are our default, and they happen so much quicker. So to be able to catch those and have tools to know what to do with them, I think that's really the key. All right, so I'd love to hear what is working for you and what resonated with you today. that is it for today. Again, if you need any help with mindset, I love talking with my clients about mindset because I think it's a direct relation to sales. If you feel like your mindset is holding you back in your sales for your business, let's talk. If you're not getting enough leads every single day, that can definitely affect your mindset, right? If you're not getting results, if you feel like you're posting and hoping, again, this can definitely feel like lack mentality, right? If all you're doing is posting and no one is responding, it makes you feel smaller and smaller and less, right? And then you feel like I'm not doing enough, I'm not being consistent, I'm not doing it enough, I'm not doing enough, must be wrong, must be something wrong with me. And this just adds to your lack mentality. I can't ever get clients, I can't ever break this cycle, right? And those are all things that I love to help you overcome and talk about one-on-one, right? I think one-on-one is really helpful for definitely dealing with mindset blocks, but I think every specific business is so customized that it really takes that kind of one-on-one approach. So I'd love to talk strategy with anyone, mindset, leads, sales, any of those things. Just feel free to say strategy below. I'd love to reach out and start a chat with you. Awesome. Thanks for sticking